Mayor Adams and Governor Hochul are making an announcement at Penn Station. Let's listen in.
Lieber, Board Chair of Amtrak, Tony Coscia, the President and CEO of New Jersey Transit, Kevin Corbett, and please join me in welcoming the 57th Governor of the great state of New York, Governor Kathy Hochul.
Good morning, good morning. As a nod to my friend from across the river, Governor Murphy, that's not why I'm wearing green, just because there's two Irish governors, but he thinks it's for the Celtics. Possibly, I'm not going to admit anything like that here. But it's also a reminder, as a tribute to New Jersey, that the glory days are back. The glory days are coming back. And I am so excited to be here with the leadership team that you just heard introduced. Governor Murphy, I want to thank you for really being a partner. Unprecedented relationship between our two states is really focusing not on our boundaries, but on our people. And I thank you for being such an amazing individual working on that as well, Governor Murphy. Also, thinking of great partners. We are joined today by Eric Adams, the extraordinary mayor of the city of New York. Again, we are working on so many issues together. I want to thank him. Leader of our team at MTA, Jano Lieber. We've been through a lot together in a fairly short time, and if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. We are both very strong. Okay, Jano Lieber. Tony Coscia, the chairman of Amtrak, thank you for sitting down with us and having conversations that were really critical to move this process forward. So thank you. Early in my administration, we came together. Amtrak has been phenomenal, so thank you very much. And of course, we have Kevin Corbett, the Executive Director of New Jersey Transit. Thank you, because this is a one region in terms of our desire to get this right. So thank you as well. A couple members of my team as well. Commissioner of Labor, Roberta Reardon, is here. Thank you, Roberta. She's all excited about the tens of thousands of good-paying union jobs to be created. I know that. She loves that. Commissioner Dominguez from DOT is here. I thank her for her leadership. We're going to go after those potholes, right? Going after the potholes, all right? We're going after that. And also, Hope Knight is here, the CEO of Empire State Development, and countless elected officials you heard, labor leaders, business leaders, and advocates, neighbors, all the people who are directly affected by this. This is an extraordinary day. We are taking an enormous step toward righting one of the wrongs of the past 60 years. My former boss, when I was a young attorney just out of law school working for Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan in Washington, what a different time it was in Washington then. He said that what happened to Penn Station, the demolition of Penn Station, was the greatest civic crime in New York history. So true, Senator Moynihan, so true. This time, we're going to get it right. And we're going to reimagine not just the physical station, but the entire experience. Because Penn Station is the beating heart of our city. It's the pumps the blood that goes through Midtown and beyond. And it's once evoked tremendous pride in New Yorkers. It's a place people will come by and point to and say how beautiful it was. And we lost that 60 years ago. Today, rather than a point of pride, it has become a source of embarrassment. It's dark, it's dreary, it can be depressing. And everything you heard on the video, I couldn't agree with more. Like the guy who said, this place is a total mess. Well said, well said. And the truth is that it doesn't represent a world-class city like New York or this region. This city, this region deserve better. Our citizens deserve better. Whether New Yorkers or our friends and neighbors from New Jersey who commute here day after day, and surely the residents of this neighborhood deserve so much better, and this community. So when I took office in August, I said I want to first of all address the public's concerns about this plan. That's where you start. We had over 100 meetings with stakeholders, community members, government agencies, elected officials, civic organizations. I come out of local government. So I'm hardwired to say, what are the people in an area most affected? What are their concerns? How do we address them? How do we make them feel part of the challenges we face, but also part of the solution? That's what we did, because this is their neighborhood. In November, I announced revisions to the neighborhood plan based on what we heard from those individuals. And this new plan will make the whole Penn area a place where New Yorkers want to work and to live. It'll have protected views of the Empire State Building. It'll add spectacular public space. I just came by from where that space is going to be. I said, oh, I hope those trees grow fast. It's going to be so beautiful, an oasis. It's going to be extraordinary. And add the space you saw in the video, but also 8 acres, 30,000 square feet public space, larger than Rockefeller Center. But we also have people who are here. This is going to prioritize the much-needed social services, but with a particular focus on New Yorkers experiencing homelessness. So based on the public meetings we had with providers and Senator Brad Hoylman, we also fund more SOS teams, we call them, the teams that are trained professionals for homeless outreach in Manhattan, something we also spoke with the mayor his first week or two on the job when we gathered to talk about how we could pool our resources together. But also, we still have a crisis in housing. We know that. And this revised plan will allow up to 1,800 residential units, 540 of which will be permanently affordable. One building entirely residential. So combined, the new buildings will add over 18 new entrances to Penn Station, widen sidewalks, create more public space, and requires that 40% of every new building frontage will be active use, no longer looking at a wall, but looking at engaging retail and community facilities and having that sense of life and vibrancy that we don't have now. And that also means more jobs coming to this neighborhood. I believe there's no better way to do urban development than to focus on the jobs and the people in redesign plans. So it's not just lifting up the neighborhood, it's lifting up the people who live there today. But today, we are focusing on the physical, and I believe it'll be a spiritual transformation of Penn Station itself. This isn't just any transit hub. It's the busiest transit hub in North America, in the Western Hemisphere. More people use Penn Station than all 3 airports combined. So it's the understatement of the century to say that Penn Station is in dire need of repair. I am committed, my team is committed, to making this whole region just shine. And it starts with building world-class transit options. We're doing it with JFK. We're doing it with LaGuardia. We're doing it for the Long Island Railroad riders with the new terminal at Grand Central. New Jersey riders have the beautiful station at the Oculus. Amtrak riders enjoy the beautiful Moynihan Hall. But New Yorkers, who make up 60% of the traffic coming into Penn Station, they deserve something better too. And that's what they're going to get. So today, I'm very proud to announce a significant milestone in our progress. We are officially moving into the design phase of the new Penn Station, and we're going to start accepting proposals from architecture and engineering firms to guide the Penn Station reconstruction. And I said, tell me the timetable, and whatever it is, shave some time off it, whatever we can within the law. So we will select a winning firm by late summer, maybe early fall, but proposals will be due at the end of July, July 28th. So we're going to continue working in partnership with our friends from New Jersey and Amtrak, design a beautiful, majestic transit hub worthy of being the epicenter of this vibrant, the most vibrant city on the planet. And I want to thank President Joe Biden and Senator Chuck Schumer, the Majority Leader of the Senate, for their leadership, and my former colleagues in Congress, particularly those representing this area, for passing the bipartisan infrastructure law That is what gave us the opportunity to move forward with this. It makes new funding streams available that could provide more than 50% of the project costs, and maybe even higher if we can have our way. It'll allow us to create, and Gary LaBarbera's in the front row here, thousands and thousands and thousands of good-paying jobs. So keep training people, Gary, because we're going to need their skills. We're going to need their skills. They are the best. Because no one builds like we do here in New York. The reimagined Penn Station will be on a single level. Imagine that. With broad concourses and high ceilings. All those people you saw packed like sardines in a can. You saw the images just a few minutes ago. In darkness, drab. It'll have a main concourse on east side of the station. It'll be larger than the concourse space of Moynihan Hall and the Great Hall of Grand Central Terminal. And I love this best. 460-foot high atrium and a skylight that reminds you that, yes, the heavens are out there still, despite the feeling that you may be living in hell. Okay. Okay. That is the experience we're going to create. And that is why it'll not just lift our eyes upward, but literally lift the human spirit in the process. The public concourse will be double the height. There'll be an increase in the number of stairs, escalators, elevators to the 11 platforms, as well as larger entrances on the 8th Avenue. This is part of my commitment, our collective commitment to ensuring equitable transit access done in a green, sustainable way, because a daily commute should not have to be a daily grind. As I mentioned, it also achieves our goal of transit equity, transforming opportunities to bring people in from currently transit deserts, and there are still too many in this metropolitan region, turning those deserts into oases. And this will be particularly helpful for those coming in the forthcoming Metro North stations in the East Bronx, Co-op City, Morris Park, Parkchester, Hunts Point. They all deserve to have easy access to the good-paying jobs that are in this area. That's what this is about as well. Travel times to and from Midtown can be reduced by up to 50 minutes as a result of Penn Access, enhancing the quality of life for people taking advantage of the system. Quality of life, what does that mean? It means you get more time back in your day to pack the kids' lunches, or maybe do a little exercise, or take a walk at the end of the day while it's still light out. Reconnecting with family, friends. It's life-changing. Time back in your life is life-changing. And I'm so excited about changing that whole trajectory where people's lives feel like they're all focused on getting to another place instead of being where they want to be. And we're going to continue prioritizing public needs. So therefore, I'm now announcing the launch of a public realm task force. They'll be charged with crafting a long-term plan for public investment in these public amenities. I want to hear from the community. I want to hear from the people who experience this area every day of their lives. They're the voices we need to listen to and act upon their recommendations. This task force will remain in existence and meet periodically to advise the public sector on those investments. So we're going to continue the engagement with the public. It has not ended. It's only just beginning. Simply, New Yorkers, our friends from New Jersey, they deserve better. And I know that infrastructure means different things to different people. Connections, connecting neighborhoods, connecting people to family, to jobs. So we're going to continue strengthening those connections and taking what has been deemed by our friend in the video as a total mess into a majestic crown jewel. We will return this station to its former glory. And as Langston Hughes once said about Penn Station, he wrote, "The Pennsylvania Station in New York, it's like a vast basilica of old that towers among the terror of the dark as a bulwark and protection of the soul. There'll no longer be terrors of the dark in Penn Station. That's what we are changing. No terrors of the dark. This is going to be an enlightened experience, literally and figuratively." So as I said at the beginning, for the last 60 years, we've paid the price of the civic crime that Senator Moynihan once lamented. But 60 years from now, I want people to say the leaders of today did more than right the wrongs of the past. They were bold, they were ambitious, and they gave the people of this area an uplifting, world-class experience. So my friends, today that journey begins. Let's get started. Thank you.
Please welcome to the podium Governor Phil Murphy.
Good morning. That's a tough act to follow, Governor. Really well done and laid out. It is a real pleasure to be here with all of you and to stand with colleagues across government in both New York and New Jersey. Governor Hochul has really hit the nail on the head, so I will just add to that to say that there's really no simpler way to put it. All of our residents, whether they be daily commuters, occasional visitors, and regardless of which direction they are traveling, deserve a Penn Station that is inviting and comfortable. They deserve better than the continually cramped and constantly muggy halls and claustrophobic low-slung ceilings. They deserve better than the current maze of walkways that deserve their own page on Google Maps. And today is a big step forward to providing them with a reimagined Penn Station. I commend my tremendous partner, Governor Kathy Hochul, who could not be a better partner. I also want to say the same about another great partner, Mayor Eric Adams, our agency partners at the MTA, Amtrak, and NJ Transit, and commend all in opening the RFP process for the architectural and engineering work that will be done to wholly transform this station more than at any point since the demolition, as Kathy noted, of the original Penn Station in 1963. In addition to Senator, the New York Times called it a monumental act of vandalism. More recently, in 2020 December, New York Times award-winning essay by a New Jersey high school student carried the headline, and I quote, "New York Penn Station, Incoherent Urban Calamity." And as governor of New Jersey, I commit that NJ Transit, on behalf of Kevin and his team and our administration, will be full partners in the effort to undo the calamitous vandalism that was carried out on commuters nearly 50 years ago, nearly 60 years ago. Our vision isn't just for a new Penn Station, but as Kathy said, an expanded one that will not just meet the expectations of the millions of people who come through here annually, but will exceed them. We are truly at a once-in-a-generation moment to remake our transportation infrastructure and secure our entire region's economic preeminence for decades to come. Penn Station is a linchpin of a $3 trillion economic corridor. But this is not just about Penn Station. It's equally about alongside our federal partners to secure the entirety of the Gateway program, and most importantly, the desperately needed new tunnels under the Hudson. And it's equally about the ongoing construction on our side of the Hudson of the new Portal North Bridge. Having a brand new Penn Station doesn't mean much if we can't ensure that the trains heading here can get here on time. And the tunnel is the most important part of the solution. And having a brand new tunnel and Portal Bridge in New Jersey doesn't mean much if we continue to require passengers to feel herded into an uninviting and obsolete Penn Station. This is a moment where the whole will be truly greater than the sum of the parts. So again, I commend Governor Hochul and her team, Mayor Adams and his, Amtrak, especially our friend Chair Tony Coscia, and the MTA and NJ Transit for their partnership and vision. And through NJ Transit and our administration and our friends at Amtrak, I look forward to seeing this shared vision brought to reality. Thank you all.
Please welcome to the podium Mayor Eric Adams.
Such a significant moment for our region and our area. And, you know, I often state that it's a 1930 moment. During the moment of the Great Depression, during a moment of uncertainty, not knowing who we were. People were devastated by the economic fallout, losing their homes, their businesses. And a few great people thought about building in the midst of that. We put the shovel in the ground in 1930, started the process of building the Empire State Building. And you saw the tradesmen, the designers, the developers, and the energy. They knew it was more significant just putting up a structure, but just rebuilding our spirit of who we are. And that's where we are now. And 1 year later, we saw that building rise, becoming not only the tallest structure in our city, but a symbol of our resiliency and who we are as New Yorkers. And America watched that Empire State Building and realized that this was the Empire State. And so now that we're in the midst of post-COVID, the uncertainty lingers over us, losing business. People are fleeing, unsure about tomorrows. We have come together. And you're seeing an unprecedented level of partnership that's being led by the heads of both states, New York and New Jersey. Not merely bickering and squabbling about personalities, but focus on getting stuff done. Getting stuff done. And this is so significant because as I was in Washington speaking with lawmakers on why we need to move away from the senseless fixation with guns in our community, I ran into my union leadership in Carlo, who was down talking about how do we use the infrastructure dollars. Sitting down with our congressional delegation to talk about how do we infuse resources in the city. All of us are doing and playing our part, not being distracted by a virus that engulfed us and said what we couldn't do. We're too busy doing it. And if you lose sight of where we are, 100,000 new jobs during the first quarter, 95% of our hotels are back up and operating at occupancy level, infusement of energy in our city. We're going back, New York. We're winning. We're winning. And all the naysayers that vote against New York City, you're going to lose your money. You're going to lose your money. And so we cannot thank the governors enough and the teams that are coming together. These are men and women who did it before. It's not the first moment of tragedy. From September 11th, rebuilding downtown, creating the new live-work communities, partnered with folks like Kathy Weil in the partnership to attract people to this good product that we have, office space and people. This Penn Station development is crucial for us. It's our Empire State Building moment. Because no matter who we are and what we do, transportation is at the heart of our ability to live a prosperous life. And so the borders won't define us. Our beauty will define us. Problems won't define us. Our people will define us. I patrolled the TA 34th Street station as a cop. I rode Amtrak going to Albany as a state senator. And now, as the mayor of the city of New York, we're going to make sure this project is a project that's built by union jobs. It's a project that is going to ensure that people are employed. It's a project that's going to become the sun that will use this gravitational pull to shine light on all that's great about this region. It's an exciting moment. If you see it as just a mere insignificant moment that's taking place on the stage of transportation, you're missing the empire moment. This is the moment that's going to define us. In the midst of all the tragedy, we're continuing to build a better, a stronger New York and New Jersey. I'm happy to be among the partnership that's going to make this happen. Going to turn an embarrassment to a symbol of light of what's great about our city. And watch what happens. New York is America's city. When New York shows resiliency, our country shows resiliency. That is how we get it done the correct way. Let's do this together. Thank you.
Please welcome to the podium Jano Lieber.
All right. Thank you, Governor Hochul. Thank you, Governor Murphy. Thank you, Mayor Adams. There's an old rock and roll show called The Tammy Show. It's still on video somewhere, where the Rolling Stones refused to come out after James Brown finished his show at the Apollo. I feel a little like that right now. So, wow. This is an amazing step in this historic effort to completely transform Penn Station. Now, the MTA and the state of New York, together with our partners, have already begun demonstrating that fixing the experience of Penn Station is not mission impossible. Look behind us. Moynihan Train Hall proves you can take an antiquated structure and repurpose it and redevelop it and make it something world-class. Moynihan Train Hall right behind us, aptly named for Senator Moynihan, who is such an inspiration to all of us who believe not just in New York, but in the power of infrastructure to shape our economy and our future. And over in Penn Station, that demoralizing place that you've heard so much about, the MTA, during COVID, built a whole new entrance right onto 7th Avenue, and in a few short months, we'll be finishing the project that will double the width of that very, very demoralizing Long Island Railroad concourse, raising the ceiling, and it is the first step to creating what the governors and the mayor have talked about, which is a completely transformed Penn Station. And what we want to do is just keep rolling. That's what we're starting today under Governor Hochul's leadership, is to complete the design, complete the engineering, so that when Grand Central, the new Long Island Railroad terminal in Grand Central opens, and half of the Long Island Railroad commuters move over there, before Metro North commuters come into Penn Station in 4 or 5 years, that we take advantage of that window of opportunity. We must take advantage of that window of opportunity. That's why moving this forward now under Governor Hochul and Governor Murphy's leadership is so important. We must use that window when there are few less railroad commuters in Penn Station to really transform it, and we're going to do just that. We're not going to let this moment slip by. We have that rare constellation of forces, political leadership at both states and in the city and at Amtrak and in all the partnership and in Albany, who know this is the moment. And we have that tremendous Biden infrastructure plan, which provides significant additional resources to make sure that now we finally get this done. Thank you. It's onward to completion.
Please welcome to the podium Tony Coscia.
Thank you. It's great to be here today, and it's an amazing event for us for so many reasons. Let me begin by expressing the most sincere level of gratitude to Governor Hochul, Governor Murphy, Mayor Adams, our partners Jano Lieber and Kevin Corbett at MTA and New Jersey Transit. This truly is a turning point. We'll remember this, and we'll remember this because I know what we're going to be doing in the next steps. I know where we go from here, and where we go from here is the true level of transformation. Jano pointed out Moynihan Hall, where we're here. This is Amtrak's new home in New York City, and it is something that demonstrates the ability to go through transformation, the ability to make something better, the ability to actually turn something around that needs to be turned around. Amtrak has been a service to this nation's transportation needs that has been going through a transformation. We have changed virtually everything. And in the period right before COVID had such an impact on everyone's life, Amtrak had reached record ridership, record on-time performance, added services all around the country. We had actually been able to achieve getting to a place where riders around the country in every corner of this nation were able to now rely on intercity passenger rail in a reliable way. And of course, COVID set us back. But again, that's what really matters. That's what defines people, is what happens in those situations. The mayor alluded to rebuilding 9/11. There's a number of people here who, when I was the chairman of the Port Authority, I partnered with on rebuilding that effort. Believe me, and I know Gary LaBarbe is here and he was with me, a lot of us walked around in those dark days in the immediate aftermath of 9/11 and really wondered what would happen, but we never stopped believing it. And Mayor, there could be nothing truer than do not bet against New York City. Do not bet against this region. We will always persevere. Now, transformation is a bit of a fancy word, and I'm not sure exactly what it means, but I'll give you my definition for whatever it's worth. People often confront a situation that's difficult, that people will complain about and say, gee, why doesn't somebody do something about it? Transformation is when the people who have the ability, the capacity, the authority, and the power to do something actually stop talking about it and do something about it. To me, that's the transformative moment. That's why Governor Hochul, Governor Murphy, Mayor Adams, they are transformative leaders, because rather than simply talk about problems, they're actually fixing them. This station is an example of how transformation can happen, but what's going to happen with Penn Station represents a whole new level of being able to change something that people have complained about for years. Look, my predecessors at Amtrak certainly were around while this station began to deteriorate. So was the governors of New York and governors of New Jersey and all those who were our predecessors. I'm not blaming them. I'm not casting dispersions on anyone in particular. I'm simply saying that the conditions that exist at Penn Station did not happen overnight. They happened by starving the country from resources where they needed it. And now what we're doing with Penn Station represents an opportunity to add a whole new level of mobility. Think about what it means for people to get from one place to another. It does an enormous amount to empower them from an economic standpoint. If you can travel, and you can travel safely and efficiently, it gives you opportunities you might not otherwise have. It also enhances your quality of life. We want people to get home to their families on time. We want people to spend time with their grandchildren. We don't want people spending time sitting on a train that's delayed because the catenary that was built 800 years ago isn't working correctly. Believe me, everybody understands that, and that's what this is really about. But it isn't accomplished the way maybe things were accomplished 100 years ago, where one person decides, of 10 priorities, I'm going to pick the one that matters to me, I'm going to pound my fist on the table, and who cares what anyone else thinks? That's not how things happen today. We have to include people in the discussion. We have to generate a consensus. Partnership is a very important word. It goes right along with transformation. Governor Hochul and Governor Murphy have led this partnership. They put us here today. They've realized that by putting these various entities together and making them resolve their differences and come to a conclusion, we will actually accomplish something. So I'm grateful to Governor Hochul and Governor Murphy, Mayor Adams, Jano Lieber, Kevin Corbett, the folks at ESD, and all of the people who have helped us, including our partners in Washington, who I will tell you, having served under more than one administration, this administration gets why what we're doing here is important. The president understands why what we're doing here is important. In fact, this president understands exactly what we're doing here because he knows more about Amtrak than I do, which he points out to me on a regular point. So we are clearly aligned here in terms of that interest. Senator Schumer, I can't have a conversation with Senator Schumer without Penn Station coming up. And what also comes up in those conversations is Gateway and the importance of actually building a 21st century transportation system, a modern 4-track intercity rail system that serves New York City. New York City and its lifeblood is served by the connection it has to the rest of the country, and we are a big part of that connection. Governor Murphy, during some of the darkest days of Gateway not seeing the light of day, you were there for us. You stood up and put your power and your resources where that effort would be. And today we have a vibrant partnership that includes Governor Hochul, Governor Murphy, Mayor Adams, and certainly the President and the Secretary of Transportation. We will replace the tunnels that are 110 years old under the Hudson River, and Gateway will become a reality, and it will change the way people commute in and out of New York City for generations to come. So let me just sort of close by saying this. When people get on a train, they don't really care whether the train is owned or operated by MTA or New Jersey Transit or Amtrak. Those things don't really matter to them all that much. What really matters to them is that they get to where they're going. They get there safely, they get there efficiently, and they're able to do it in a reliable way. That's what we're really here to do. By transforming Penn Station, we recognize that places aren't just bricks and mortar. places of real importance, they tell us how we feel. The governor has very appropriately created a vision for what Penn Station should look like, because she understands that how people feel about the locations that they go to, the venues that they use, has an impact on their lives. It makes them feel differently, and by feeling differently, it becomes a fuller life for them. So thanks to all of those who got us here today, and we are certainly to be back with some significant announcements in the weeks and months to come. Thank you again.
Please welcome to the podium Kevin Corbett.
Good morning, all. Certainly, Governor Hochul, boss, Governor Murphy, pleasure to be here with you today. Mayor Adams, it was great catching up on a whole host of the topics earlier, and thank you for your leadership. Also like to give shout-outs to a couple of really good friends. You know, we touched on it, Jano Lieber, as the head of MTA, we were talking about who would have believed, Jano, that our parents, they saw us 20-something years ago when we were fighting with the post office to get this building. You know, we ended up buying it $230 million, and they, instead of repairing mailboxes, now look what it is. So, Jano, thanks for the great partnership we've had, and obviously talked about World Trade Center, which certainly leads me to thanking Tony. You know, whether it was rebuilding the World Trade Center and everything we all went through. Gary, there's always a successful, if Gary's here, you know this is going to be a success, right, Kathy? And also, Tony, you know, everyone's talking about logistic problems around the world. You know why this region doesn't have? Because Tony Coscia, the head of the Port Authority, said we got to dredge the harbor to 50 feet. Not a sexy topic, but boy, are we benefiting from that. So that's the kind of leadership Tony brings to the table. Thank you. Governor Hochul, I have to say, with another good friend here, Hope Knight, certainly from my days working with her at UMES and the Greater Jamaica Development Corp, and certainly Tom of the RPA board, when we were doing the 4th regional plan. You could not have a better person to serve as the head of ESDC than Hope, and I am familiar with that agency, as some of you know. And certainly, lastly, I'd also like to thank Amtrak's Executive Vice President of Capital Delivery, Laura Mason, who's, I know she's back there somewhere, for all that she's doing to help in and filling in for Stephen Gardner today. I think all of our speakers here clearly agree that there is no shortage of improvements that are needed at Penn Station. The station is central to the experience of millions of New Jersey Transit customers every year, along with those served by the MTA and Amtrak, and those who come from across the country and around the world. And yet, in so many ways, the experience leaves much to be desired, and all our customers deserve better. The request for proposal announced today represents an important first step by the parties of the MTA, Amtrak, and New Jersey Transit to deliver the world-class experience at Penn Station all our customers deserve. As we know, Penn Station is an important part of the overall Gateway program, as Tony referred to. The vision of the Gateway program extends beyond just the renovation of Penn Station, but also the expansion of this facility. These are critical pieces of transforming what is clearly the busiest and most critical rail hub in the country. And as Governor Murphy astutely pointed out, the construction of 2 new tunnels, a new portal bridge, and the renovation and expansion of Penn Station are all integral to achieving the desired operational improvements and travel experience to maximize the potential of the New York region. Ultimately, all these coordinated projects will result in a bolder, more accessible, and fully modernized Penn Station, creating a far better experience for New Jersey Transit customers and everybody else's customers, and being a befitting entryway to the greatest city of the world and the center of global commerce. When you combine Portal North, the Hudson Tunnel, and the modernization and expansion of Penn Station, along with the other Gateway program elements Tony referred to, I think it's fair to say that together we will revolutionize transit service in the region for generations to come. While a project of this magnitude may be viewed as challenging for a single agency, much less 3 agencies successfully coordinating pulling off, I think under the leadership of Governor Murphy, Governor Hochul, and the full support of the Biden administration, there is no doubt, and I think some of the comments I made earlier, that we have the team here that will deliver it. So I think the people we've talked about all have an extensive, proven track record, and thank you, Mayor Adams, for pointing that out. And I am confident that we have the right team in place to not only come up with a vision, but ensure that that vision is delivered. Thank you all.